Good afternoon and welcome to TalkSports. It is our weekend program, or Saturday Sports Special to be exact. And good afternoon to you, one and all, and welcome to the program. Well, as indicated our last program, we in the heat of the battle, as we would say, the World Championships. And we have a very interesting program on where we'll be looking specifically at, in the first part, we'll look at Grenada's um, participation and performance thus far. And then later on, we hope to get a perspective from Caribbean overall. Our friend Richard McLaughlin has joined us, hopefully, and be part of that. Let me say good afternoon as well to my co host in Toronto, Rudian. Good afternoon to you, Rudian.
Hey, good afternoon, Michael. The thing is
Yes,
coming to an end. The
yes,
excitement has been overwhelmed. Some
yep.
people have some sleepless night, but we are here. We are here.
Yeah,
Certainly, it has been fun. So, we're going to dive into it in a few minutes.
yeah, certainly. So, but as you know, if I just in a nutshell recap so far, Grenada in the 400 meters, the women's shot put,
Short put. Yeah.
we had the javelin, and then we have the decathlon, which is in
Yeah.
progress. Well, as you know, Kirani did not advance to the final of the 400
Yeah.
meters.
Yeah.
He got into the semis, but not into the final. Anderson uh, got the silver medal in the javelin throw, and unfortunately, Kelsey Murray, she did not advance in the shot put, women's shot put. Well, they were expected. You have to be in the. As a matter of fact, there are folks who threw 90 plus meters and didn't get a medal.
Didn't get a medal. The
Yeah,
Canadian didn't get a medal. She came fourth. She
right.
jumped 91, and she couldn't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it
it
was,
just it was interesting, and what I like most about the whole game is you see a lot of new faces
yeah,
um, of people getting medals and not always the same faces all the time.
yeah, because
So certainly for me, the sport is alive. It's still alive. It's still alive,
could you imagine you're running a 44 low, 44 2, 44 4, and you can't
and
medal?
not get a medal. Yeah,
You're not making a medal
yeah,
because
not get a medal.
the, the, the gold and the silver medalists, I think they had a 43 point, right?
Hmm.
Which was, yes, from Botswana, 43 something. And then you had Jerry Richards from Trinidad and Tobago
Yeah,
with a lifetime
yeah,
best of
of
43.72,
course.
right?
And
And
even with him,
yeah,
um, he was not on my radar.
well,
he,
I don't think he was ready. He was,
he was not on my
yeah,
radar.
yeah.
So certainly it shows that
So a
the
lot of, right,
discipline has been there in
yeah,
terms of his training, his planning to come into the games, and you have to give credit to those things. When you really execute something and you plan as this late in the season is something we certainly keep talking about.
because
It is certainly late
because
in the season to run in that level still. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Yeah.
because if we go back to our last program when we are doing the the we are doing the poll, the survey, whatever you call it, and
Yeah.
folks were saying their choice in the 100 meters, who's the gold, who's silver, who bronze, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
that, look what is it, you know. Yeah, in fact, even look at that in the women's 100, um, Clayton, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, she showed up, right?
Shut up.
Then
Shut up. Yeah.
and then I don't know if you looked at today with the relays.
So many things happening.
A lot of
So
things.
many
It
things
was it was
happening.
a dramatic. In fact, just before going on air, I saw something where I think they may have a runoff between
They do have a run up.
United States
Not
and
only in the 4x1, not only in the 4x1, it was also in the 4x4. The 4x1 is not a runoff,
but the 4x4.
but South Africa is running for time.
Mm.
But the 4x4 is a runoff. So my question that I wanted to ask is two teams getting bumped up? So let's say
No, no, they'll have eight. No, they'll have
or
eight
they're
plus
going to go
one.
9 lanes.
Yeah, they'll go to 9 lanes because remember
So it's for
they
one. So
normally
it's for
run.
one.
Yeah, it's 8 plus 1. So remember, as it is now, they're running out of lane 2, right?
Yeah.
Use
But
lane
then, so how are you going to
2
do
lane
with
up.
South Africa? Is
Huh?
South Africa going to get the ninth lane? They could have just ultimately give them the ninth lane or just making them do a runoff
Yeah, but I
because
saw the figures.
they can running by themselves.
I saw eight
So
plus
are they
one.
running? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, they
So
probably
then yeah. So may they running for time? I want to assume. So if their time is good, they're going to get to bump somebody off.
Mhm. Yeah, but it was all drama in that relay in the
It
qualifying. But
was. It was. It
once
was.
you
It
get
was a
into
lot of drama.
once
Yeah.
you get into the final, I don't think we'll have that sort of problem.
Yeah. Okay. There's no runoff in the finals. The finals is the finals.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yes, guys, weekend blessings to you, gentlemen. Let's get into it. Thank you, Gordon. Roger, yes, the peace hot boy. And thank you, Roger. By the way, Roger had it correctly, right? In his thing from, yeah, he had it correctly. Hello, gentlemen. Edwin, let me see what Rudian. He's
Now we can do
humorous
about that.
and
Listen, you know, you know what I come to this when I realize in this game's coming to the end. There is no feeling, feeling for athletes. There's no solidarity feeling for athletes. We say we feel for Shelley, we would like her to get a medal. We feel for Talu to get a medal. We know we say those kind of things, or we feel for an athlete, but there is no feeling for that. If you get to compete, you compete. It doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter, what you have done in the past. Once you're there, you better compete. And if you're
yeah,
not ready to compete, you're not ready to compete. So that's just really what it is. It's as simple as that. There's no, I would like or feel something. And I think we took that going in that we would like to see those athletes get a medal. We would like to see Shelley get something. If this was Kirani's last full, world championship, the same thing we're saying, we would have liked to see him go to the finals. So
yeah,
we
it was,
yeah, so we kind of have this sentiment feelings,
yeah,
but we can't have that.
it was a
There's
lot.
people out there to compete and they're there to compete. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of emotions and sentiments, as you
Yeah.
said, right? But as you see, fierce battle. Look, um, the Jamaican Anderson ran a 140. Well, it's a national record in Jamaica,
Yeah.
142 points, and he did not medal. 142 points. No, 142 probably a few years ago Akmal would have
But I'll
been
give
probably
you I'll
a
give you a
world
national
record.
record, a
A
world
world
record.
record.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
guy's
And
running
it's keep
one.
going and it keep getting faster and faster.
Guy's
We
running
keep seeing a lot of
141.
young guys. You'll see a
Yeah,
lot of young guys. By the next 2 years, you'll be 140. Um,
yeah.
and certainly we'll see that.
Could
And
could
so that certainly is something to look after.
could
In the
him?
next 2 years, there will be a lot of world records in the next 2 years. Um, there'll be a lot of world records. I actually, on one of the platform I was on, I said, um, that 400-meter women record was going to be broken. I said it was going to be 47.5. You know, um, but I think it will go in the next year or two. I think if she get a good race with some good people in it, that and as well as not doing the rounds.
Mhm.
Remember, Bolt is one of the only athletes in the sprint that went through the rounds and break the world record. A lot of other athletes who break world record have done it in a diamond league or another meet.
Mhm.
So yes, you can go to the rounds and break a world record, but it's tough. It's really tough. So certainly we will see that in the next few years to come.
All right. So, guys, as indicated, that we have a discussion with this coach Paul Phillip. As you know, Paul Phillip is a coach and mentor of two-time world champion and now silver medalist in the javelin event, Anderson Peters, and he's well respected and experienced. And I had the opportunity to speak with Coach Paul Phillip while he was in Tokyo. I have with me the coach of Anderson Peters, Coach Paul Phillip, who is live in Tokyo, Japan, where the World Athletics Championships is taking place, and smarted from uh, silver medal in the World Athletics Championship in the Javelin event, to be exact. Coach Phillip joins me from Tokyo. As I say, greetings to you, Coach Phillip, and I hope everything is okay.
Yeah, for the time, I'm doing well.
Right. And always a pleasure speaking to you. And I'm no stranger to this sort of environment in terms of world championships. Describe to me, Coach Phillip, the performance of your charge, Anderson Peters, at this year's world championships.
Um, it was a pretty good outing. I think one couldn't ask for better. Gold medal would, of course, be the icing on the cake. But coming from a season that Anderson has for the beginning of the season started, the season started with best that held up until the qualification for the World Championships. The first round of the World Championships. Um, there was a lot of struggles. Um, there was even a time when we contemplated that the end of the season because we was performing so poorly. Lots of niggles, lots of rhythm issues, um, and doubts about whether or not he would make it to the world stage and even to be in contention for a medal. So it is a joy, it is an accomplishment, it is something to be celebrated, and we took the opportunity to celebrate.
Yeah. And it seems to be, I was looking at some of the stats there, Coach Phillip, and a sort of rivalry between Keyshawn Walcott. Congratulations to Keyshawn, no doubt, and Anderson over the years, and particularly, well, Anderson is a junior, basically to Keyshawn, right? But of the 6 major championships, this probably is the second time Keyshawn would have, had victory over Anderson. It looked at 2018 CAC championships where Keyshawn was first and Anderson was second. And then this year's World Championship where Keyshawn was first, Anderson was second. So, the back and forth. But over the period of time, Anderson has basically held its own over Keyshawn. What's the kind of rivalry between these two competitors, two neighboring competitors to be exact?
Keyshawn is seen as a elder statesman, a bigger brother.
Right.
Keyshawn has been our inspiration. As a matter of fact, he actually started that whole dream of becoming world class javelin thrower. When he did it in 2012,
right.
I mean Anderson was basically just entering javelin throwing, and so he set the stage for.
In fact, Anderson was under 17 in the character game.
Under 17 in character game.
Yeah.
Yes. He was actually in his first character game.
Right.
And Keyshawn has served as inspiration for Anderson, and he says it. That Keyshawn actually started the dream and showed him what was possible. There's always that respect. We meet up on the circuit and we have conversations and there's a fair exchange of things. There's a rivalry secretly brewing, but never one where anybody gets offended by another one winning or anything like that. So it's really a nice camaraderie between these two athletes. And when one wins and the other doesn't, there's always some consolation being happening, and you see the nice little fist pumps and things like that. So we good.
Yeah, well, it seems so. But it was a proud moment for the NACAC region, Coach Phillip, with Keyshawn Anderson and also Curtis Thompson of the United States on the podium. However, and for the Caribbean, the 1-2 for the Caribbean, English-speaking Caribbean to be exact. But you have always raised that concern, going way back when we have been speaking, about having more Caribbean athletes, because you have seen throughout the island, throughout the Caribbean, we have the talent, right? But somehow, as it is now, Anderson and Keyshawn basically carrying the weight of the Caribbean, and especially the English speaking Caribbean. How do you think we can go about solving that problem where we can see more of our, especially the juniors, going through the ranks? And so Anderson and Keyshawn went through the ranks.
First of all, I think you're right with it. There is a lot of talent, to be honest, in the Caribbean. I mean, I think every island possess that same talent pool. What I think is a struggle is that I don't think that our people genuinely believe that the coaching expertise are available in the Caribbean, and we appreciate it. I have had conversation with many of the coaches from federations throughout the Eastern Caribbean, and they say, yeah, 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 and we want to bring you to do something, and we want to do this and we want to do that, but not many of them actually follow through on the word, and that is because we believe sometimes that foreign is better, and to our own detriment. I am not going to be blowing my trumpet. I'm not going. I don't have to go out there and advertise myself as an authority on javelin throwing. But I know that what we have, many of our coaches feel that they can do it, right? And they don't feel that they need to give that responsibility to somebody like myself, or Kishan's past coach, or something like that. They feel that they can do it themselves. But I tell you, getting an athlete to this level is not an ordinary job. It is not something that can be done purely on the training that you receive from World Athletics. It takes a lot more. Okay. And I think we need to unite a little bit more, spend the resources, put the resources behind
Okay. I do want to apologize. we just lost contact with with our source. So I think we'll have to get back to that. We just lost momentarily. We lost contact with our source there in terms of the actual program itself, and I'm hoping that I can probably get back to that part of the interview with Coach Paul Phillip, right? Because a very important point he was making. But let me see if I can rejoin for Coach Phillip now.
And for the last 3 weeks, we had to bring in a physiotherapist, right? And that is somebody who knows the athlete's body. So you can't just pick up anybody and just say, okay,
Yeah,
let's go by that physio down the road.
yeah,
It's not a thing where you go and a man rub you out. Like, you go, you see what people say, go and get a night.
yeah.
Something where somebody has to the body, intricate workings of the body.
Mhm.
And in our case, this guy peels off every layer of the muscles. And in Anderson's case this time, there were 4 or 5 ribs on his left side that were merged together. Right? No, I do my liquor rubbing, right? As a massage therapist. I've done some training as a massage therapist. But this is beyond what I would be able to do. Hence the reason for employing an expert, a person who works by the hour, and that hour would cost $125 US per hour.
Mhm.
Right? Now, let's put things in proper context. This guy worked 2 sessions, 4 hours per day to get Anderson back moving the way that his body is supposed to move. So think about 3 weeks every day for 8 hours on average.
Mm.
That cost is a cost that has to be borne by the athlete.
Absolutely.
So it's not cheap. And so a lot of persons have the notion, and I'm glad you spoke that it is something that happens by magic, maybe. So we don't have to give them money because they have a sponsor.
Yeah.
They have a sponsor. So and this is a Nike Adidas sponsored athlete. And so everything is taken care of. He's a millionaire, so he could do that. In this little space of time, the prize money that he would have made for second place, which is around 35,000 US dollars. When you take off what Japan takes for taxes, and you take off what he has to pay the physio,
Yeah.
he left with probably about a $5,000 if he did that.
Wow.
Yep.
It's not. Yeah, it's quite.
And that's only 3 weeks to a month. That's not a whole year we took him. There's other things that went on earlier to get him to the stage where the physio came in, right, to get him ready for this major challenge. So it is an expensive venture. It is not by any stretch of an imagination a cheap thing. So apart from that, these are the physical things that an athlete actually need. There is also in a period like he went through in the Diamond Leagues, where frustration, everybody talks now about mental health.
Mhm.
And you would have to get the services now of a psychologist. The psychologist is not doing his work for free. He's an expert.
Yeah.
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 So you have to pay for that also. Then there is accommodation. So we leave home most years. We leave home at the end of April and we return at the end of September. We have to stay somewhere that is not our home. Accommodation cost while you're on the road.
Right.
Who has to pay again? The athlete. So if you don't win meets, you don't make money to offset those costs.
Cost.
So when we see athletes and we celebrate those medals, we have to be mindful of what goes into preparing the athlete.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, and that's really eye opening because I guess people just look at the outside the celebration part of it, but not the actual preparation, and it's not the easy preparation, as you say, and you're talking about especially an event as a javelin, where you get most of the competition in Europe, right? It means that you may have to set up camp in Europe, and it comes with the cost itself, right? Coach, now that it comes to the almost to the end of the season, well, practically the end of the season, I don't know if there's anything in store for Anderson for the rest of season, because normally you packed away by then because we're into late September into October. What will be the normal mode for an athlete as Anderson in terms of getting himself ready for 2026, then the next season?
Well, 2026 is a special year. Um, Normally, by now, we would be winding down the season, as you say. Um, we go into transition mode, so the athlete actually gets some time off. Okay, so I would determine how much rest the athlete gets, how much time off he gets, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. Um, Not training, just doing something different, living your life as an ordinary person, as a civilian,
Yeah,
if I could use that term,
yeah,
right? It means getting rid of all the stresses that are associated with being a professional athlete. Going for a swim, having an ice cream, eating something outside of the usual diet, um, not having to worry about whether coach is at the training venue and you're going to be late and all of these things. So the athlete gets a time to kick back and just unwind. Um, but 2026 is a different year. It's a year where there's an opportunity created by World Athletics for athletes to actually make some dollars. And there's a nice prize plus for the top 8 or 16 people in the world in each event to participate in this meet that was created by the World Athletics. So we are going to be taking a serious approach to this season. It's going to be preparation mode after about 3 weeks of a transition from this training into the next one, into the beginning of the next season. Because you want to be at your top level of performance for those meets. For this meet in particular, but in the lead up to it, there will be also the diamond leagues, right? And in the diamond leagues is where athletes actually get to earn most of their medals. So we are going to go preparation mode. This is going to take us 2 to 3 months where we do general physical preparation, you know, conditioning work, lots of running, swimming, and flexibility things. And then we get into more specific javelin type work when it comes to January, February, March. Because April is when we actually doing the end of April. We are actually going to be starting to do the first diamond. April, May-ish, and then from there it is business, the business of the specific business of javelin through takes place because you are in the competition mode, right? So we break our season up into phases, right? And each phase takes a number of weeks. So we basically would have about 34 to 36 weeks that we use on a calendar year to prepare the athletes. But these are broken down into different phases where we focus on different aspects of the job.
Coach, over the years, when it comes to global competition, always a fierce battle between Anderson and Chopra of India. And that goes way back to the junior worlds. I think it was in Poland back then. Well, you were there. I was there also back in 2015, 2019, somewhere there. 2016.
2016.
2016, yeah. Right, in Poland, right? But
Yeah.
we are a bit disappointed with Chopra in terms of the performance in this year's World Championship. Himself and Nadeem of Pakistan, they were considered to be top contenders along with Anderson for a podium finish.
Coming off of the Olympics, many persons were expecting good things from Nadeem from Pakistan because of the distance that he drew. Word was out very early in the year, in the competition year, that he was suffering some kind of an injury and possibly was doing surgery or something. And so we didn't see much of him on the circuit. Not that it is the usual. We don't usually have him for many meets on the circuit. But he shows up at international championships and does a great job. As last year he did probably 2 weeks before the Olympics, and he was, blowing everybody out at the Olympics. Chopper, on the other hand, competes at more meets on the Diamond League circuit. As a matter of fact, he would have won 2 or 3 in the previous season of the Diamond Leagues. But this year, he started off very well. He got to the magical 90-meter mark, and that set the tone for what we expected of him for the new year because he would have switched camps in terms of his coaching. Um, so he's now working with the world record holder, as Leslie, and the expectations were very high. But unfortunately, I think sometime in the middle of the season he got injured. That's what I'm reading on social media. He got injured, and so he wasn't in his best shape, and we saw the results. I am not really disappointed, to say the least, because I know the struggles of javelin throwing. If you want to get injured, they say 2 events in track and field that are actually you see injury and you go straight there, the triple jump, closely followed by the javelin. So we have to be mindful of those things, and can be something that can cause us. All right. I mean, had these guys been in their best shape, I think we would have been seeing a different competition. Um, you heard me speak about the struggles that Anderson would have had in the season. Um, some persons got really excited, including myself, um, on the qualification when he had to take the second throw and then he nearly threw 90 meters. Had he done replicated that yesterday, we probably would have had another gold medal to his name. making it true to his talent. But all that put aside, it was a good competition. Um, Young guys came in on the scene first time at the World Championships, and they did very well. There was a Sri Lankan, there was an Indian, and young people, 20, 21, 22s, showing up on the scene and doing extremely well. And they pushed the veterans, so to speak. Kishan being one of those. Unfortunately, Julius Yego, who was going very well after
Right.
his
Yeah.
first stroke, got injured as well. But there was a fair mix of youth and experience,
Yes.
and that proved showed in the results of the competition.
Finally, Coach, I want to ask you something. I meant to ask you so many times, but this time I want to ask. Back in 2013, when Anderson won his second under 17 gold medal at the Carifta Games, he also won a bronze medal in the shot put. So Anderson was basically a thrower, let's call him that. And I guess as much we can say, same thing as Paul, when you were back then, you were a thrower, right? Why Anderson make the switch from, from probably the shot put to the javelin? What made him stick to the javelin?
Okay, no, there's a simple there's a simple explanation to this. Anderson was multi-talented. So remember, he is a man who ran 10-5.
Right.
He jumped 7+ meters in the long. He was 14 meters in the triple jump. Okay. He ran 100, 200, kind of dabbled with the 400, and he did all the throws. There was even talk of him becoming a multi-inventor. That I did not support because I thought with his sprint speed, right, the javelin would be his best fit. Okay, he wanted to be a 100-meter runner, right? As a matter of fact, in those days, he wanted to become the next Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
Right? Unfortunately, I didn't see myself as having the expertise to carry him to the world stage in at a time when Jamaica, as one place, had 8 men running sub-10s. I didn't see it as a possibility. And what I saw was an opportunity for him to capitalize on his raw speed and general athleticism and harness that into the javelin. With the shot put, yes, he won a medal at the shot, but his frame, his body was not a big body as, for example, Josh Boudan. And therefore, to become a world-class shot putter, you need 250 pounds, upwards of 250 pounds to become a world-class shot putter. But with anything in the region of 180 to 240 pounds, you could become a world-class javelin. So, hence the rationale, hence the reason why I pushed him to becoming a javelin thrower versus a discus or a shot thrower. Frame matters.
Yeah. I want to thank you very much, Coach Phillip. Always a pleasure speaking to you. And every time we speak, there's some sort of eye-opening in terms of that. But certainly the whole synopsis on preparing an athlete, I think that one is the one that is really the eye-opener. You said some things I've heard. I'm hearing for the first time. I think you went into greater details this time around. Thank you very much, Coach Phillip.
Yeah, there's some things that sometimes you hold back on because you basically do not want to be delving too much into issues that might be a little bit more private to people in terms of, finances is not something that you just go
Certainly. Yeah.
but there is a need for it because sometimes there's a misconception that needs to be cleared up. And I think I'm happy that you gave me that forum where I could explain it better, and so that some of our maybe corporate citizens as well can have an appreciation for for what it takes to get on that level, and maybe they chip in along with even government, because sometimes people in government don't really understand. You know, they feel that the athletes are sometimes greedy if they make a request for assistance. You know, so I hope that clears the air on why is it necessary to assist those athletes who are performing at the world stage, right? To put things in a little bit of better context, there is a big difference between the decathlon, which Lyndon performs in, the throws, which is the javelin that Anderson performs in, and let's take the 400. These are the three areas that Grenada is showing up in at the international level. As a sprinter, a runner, there is, let's just put a figure out there, and I'm not saying this as to say anybody gets this amount.
Just for debate.
Just for debate. A runner gets upwards of $100,000 a year from a sponsor, shoe sponsor. A thrower probably will get under somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 a year, right? From a shoe sponsor. And a deck athlete, because of the amount of time that they compete a year and the popularity of the event, will get somewhere in the region of $30,000 to $20,000. The expenses, as I explained earlier on, are more for those technical events, right? A decathlete has 10 events that he has to provide equipment for, spend more time preparing, but yet there is less funds being given because of the popularity of the event. Hence the reason for me explaining that those athletes need more support to carry along in the events, to continue to do what they do to make our nation proud. So I hope that shares a little bit of light as to the importance of support financially to those athletes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man.
Indeed, Rodian. Quite some startling information, I would say. Rodian?
No, most definitely. People seen from the outside don't have a clue of how things are, and the work that have to be put in, and the discipline it takes, and the finances. Um, that's one of the things that we talk about a lot. Um, the finances. A lot of people claim because you have a shoe sponsor, you make a lot of money, and you don't. Say some of them who do. Um, but in the sport that we involve in, we really don't. That's why many times I spoke and I had a proposition to Grenada at one point, that you need a medical card system for some athletes, and that medical carding will take care of some support of the things that they talk about, the physio, you know, um, and the medical part of it. And I think, we should see more of that. Um, and I certainly will hope that'll help. And I say that because Canada have a system like that. They have a medical system. We have a medical carding. So you use that card and whatever is on it to take care of some of the things that you need. So I think some of these islands could do that, in their budget, certainly put a carding system in there, what they call a medical carding. So some of this funding um, can use to help deviate some of the expenses of some of these athletes because it's a lot.
Yeah,
Certainly, it's a
yeah.
lot.
Uh, Edwin says, very insightful information from Mr. Phillip. Many folks only see the glamorous side of the sport and think these athletes are all wealthy. And as he indicated, that
Because they compare them to another sport, and you can't do that. Basketball will have their problems too. They will have their issues, and they will talk about it. Even though you find they say, well, they make a lot of money, but they have their problems. Soccer have the same issues. You have American football have the same issues. You have tennis. You have a lot of this different sport have their issues. Um, and because one talk about it, you're thinking that they make a lot of money, but no, the soccer players and them, who knows what they have around them, who knows who they
well,
have to pay and what they have to do. So it might looks like, yeah, I might make $100 million, but maybe 20 of that million have to go to one person, and
well,
another
look,
10 go to another person, and so
well,
yeah,
yeah, it's that Coach Phillip was actually saying that of the prize money, they
yeah,
have to pay taxes in Japan. Yeah, so a portion of that goes to Japan as taxes, and then when you take out all the expenses that we explained, right, in terms of your physio, whatever it is, your support team, right, even as a coach, right, as he
yeah.
said, the coach has to be paid. So you have a team around you. So as an athlete, you know, you have to, because sometimes when it comes to sponsors may not be financial, right?
No, no,
They may not
not
always
all
be
sponsors.
financial.
That is, yeah,
Yeah,
and then and that's why you also got to find an agent, which the agent is the one should have finding the meets for you. You still got to pay those agents. It's not the
right.
sponsor that's finding those meat for you; it's the agent.
So it's
Um,
so
yeah,
it's quite a lot, and that's
it,
why
it, it it is. It is. We really have to get a clear understanding about and a breakdown of that. It's not always about the glamour. It's not about the winning the medal. Some people prefer not to win a medal because if you win a medal, thinking about funding, you might end up with nothing.
yeah.
So it's almost like, yeah,
One of the things I've clamored for before, and I think I will continue to clamor for, is that for there be the establishment of what we call a throws academy in Grenada. Throws, meaning whether it's javelin, discus, shot put, right? And someone as Paul Phillip could be the director, whatever it is you want to call, but it's established in Grenada because they basically train out of Grenada, right? And as he said,
yeah,
they go to Europe at a certain time of the year
yeah,
to get themselves acclimatized and for competition because a lot of the competitions, especially for the
yeah,
javelin in Europe, right?
yeah,
So they spend a considerable amount of time in terms of preparation and training and thing in Grenada.
yeah,
So
yeah,
why not establish what we call a throws academy where young boys and girls with the talents, because we do have it, right, can be tutored, mentored, coached by Paul Phillip and others, and working along with the experience of uh, Anderson Peters, for example, who
but
can be
but
used as
but
sort of
but
inspiration for those.
but as much as that sounds good, um, there is a cost to it.
No, no, well, that's what, no, well,
So
listen,
we have to be able to look at
it
that,
was
right? Yeah.
something that was discussed some years ago when they thought,
Okay.
yeah, it was discussed. As a matter of fact, it was actually the initial idea was an uh, uh, throws academy under the OECS, but based in Grenada,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, it's a throws academy, but it will be based in Grenada. It was under the OECS. Mrs. Victor and those folks were the one who were working on that, right? It never really
Yeah.
materialized. Of course, it will need the support. What I'm saying is that uh, Anderson and Paul already based in Grenada. So it just means that you have to put a structure in place, right,
In place.
to
Yeah.
ensure
Yeah.
that he is compensated, wherever it is,
Yeah.
the coach. So basically, instead of Anderson um, paying coach Paul Phillip, that the state should pay coach as a contribution, you know, and use his services for something like that, where he's also coaching not just Anderson, but other young throwers, because he's a throw coach, right? It's not just javelin,
But
right?
another thing he mentioned is part of it is the coaching and the opportunities. A lot of times when they see you, they think like the Caribbean, only Jamaica that has coaches. Only
Oh, well,
Jamaica, that they look at it in that
yeah.
format, right? And they don't understand the talent that we have.
Well,
Another thing that will also help is giving coaches the opportunity. So those federations also have to give other coaches the opportunity, not only sending one set of coaches to go with teams, is giving other coaches the opportunity to travel, to go out there and to get that experience at the same time. A lot of coaches now is drawing themselves out because they feel that there is no opportunity for them, right? So it's
but
certainly something that we have
I,
to
I
that
I
also got to
agree, but
take
I
place. Yeah.
agree, but at the same time, the coaches must take what you call a personal responsibility, ensuring that they move themselves from one level to the next. Because you have to be, for example, let me use boxing as an example. As a coach for boxing, and to be the ringside coach for a boxer, you have
Hmm.
to have some level of certification. It can't be any, not because you're
Yeah.
a coach coaching a boxer in the ring home. It means that when you go to a tournament, you can be on. No, that's not. In fact, we had a situation where, well, situations where, because our coaches were not certified, right? We had to use, at one point in time, we had to use a coach from Trinidad. Then we had to use a coach from Barbados to be the ringside coach, because our coach, even though he was there, he could not have been ringside because he's not certified. So that, and I'm making that point to say that sometimes it's a personal responsibility of coaches to ensure that they move themselves to the next level. So when the opportunity arises, right, they should be able to grab that opportunity. And for the example you made, for example, having the opportunity to travel with a team, to be the coach of a team, or to be the manager of a team, or whatever it is, to accompany a team, because you must understand some, you know, systems. You can't just be the novel coach who's coaching home and believe that because you're a coach home, you can just travel with a team. You have to know certain things, right? That is important. Let me get a comment there. Roger Duncan is saying, my personal take, athletics as a sport is not paying enough to help these professionals support themselves. Major sponsors of athletes are ripping more of the sport, right? It's one of the reasons the sport is under threat from the enhanced games, as the world takes on a paradigm shift in morals and values by athletes, sponsors, and administrators of the sport, right? And as you heard, um, Fred Curley is one of those who have signed up for that, right? I keep agreeing with Roger. Um, Tom is saying, "Oh, John, good afternoon to you. A vital ingredient to sports acumen and training. We have had this conversation about the center of excellence, and this is just the sports specific training that you speak of. It all goes together." Yes, that's John. Remember, we had John on the program some weeks ago speaking about that center of excellence. Indeed, that's thing. Rudian, Richard should be joining us momentarily, hopefully. Um,
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. Let me.
Hopefully, yeah. to get some perspective. But while we're on that,
Yes.
yeah, certainly it was programs like this are an investment. Um, you cannot avoid that. You have to put in the resources to grow the tree. Thank you, John. Yeah. So, folks, as indicated, it was a proud moment for the Caribbean, especially let's look at the men's 400 meters. You know, Jerry Richards, he was able to medal, right? Um, so he represented Trinidad and Tobago, by the way. And then we also had in the men's javelin, we had the 1-2 in terms of the English speaking Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and Grenada, gold and silver. Well, it was a NACAC 1-2-3 because Curtis Thompson of the United States um, copped the bronze medal, and yeah, that made it nice. In the decathlon that's going, they, we had the Canadian world record holder, former champion, etc., Olympic world champion. He pulled out, right? He pulled out. Thought when he pulled out, it leaves an opportunity for our boy because it always used to be a fierce competition between Lyndon Victor and Warner, right? And then we have also have Lepage. It's Lepage or Lepage of Canada as well, but he's not doing too well. It seems as if the American trying to get his name is looking good in terms of that. Hopefully, on the final day, in terms of the javelin and some of the other events, that Lyndon probably can pick up some points. He'll have to pick up some crucial points to get into the medal round because his current standing is not looking too nice, right? And therefore, we're hoping that he can get into the medal round. I think Richard has joined us. Rudian.
Yes. Richard
Yes,
is there.
Richard
But
has
it's
joined us.
but LePage have he has a back injury. He's been nursing that for some time. Um, I know I met with him a few times at the meet, and he's been nursing at practice. Been nursing that back injury. Damian Warner, the Achilles, like he said. They have several doctors out there, several physio that work hard to get him back up and running. But sometimes it's just one of those things that is tough. It's hard to travel that far and not compete, as he used the word. Because sometimes you're taking a space for someone else, an opportunity for someone else to get in. However, there's nothing we can do. An injury is an injury, and if he could come at any time, so it's unfortunate that he didn't get to compete. But like you said, it's hard to come back in the decathlon, especially at this stage, and there's so much events. There's not much event to go, and if you're not racking up first places in all those events, getting on the podium now is really, really tough, really tough.
Yeah, uh, hopefully.
And then, like you see, Lyndon spoke about in the past, is that if you don't have the right stuff, the right tools, the right javelin, the right pole vault to get you more points, it becomes very difficult,
Well,
right?
and
So,
and and,
yeah,
and listening to Coach Paul Phillip as well, he said that in the case of Lyndon with the decathlon, with all these events, and he
yeah,
will need to get all these implements,
yeah,
and the one for training is different to the one for competition. So
yeah.
consider um, what's Lyndon, who has to do javelin, who has to do shot put, who has to do discus, who has to do pole vault, you know, in terms of throws, you know,
And then you need a coach for
and
everything,
jumps.
and you
And
almost
then
need
you
a
need to
coach for
specialize,
everything.
well, specialize. So
Yeah,
it is very expensive for an athlete like Lyndon to maintain
yeah.
himself in terms of training and competition, right? I think Richard is back with us. Before that, let me hear what Lincoln is saying. Enhanced games will be the Kerry Packer of track and field. It will attract mainly washed up and half beat athletes. uh, well, that's where the money is, Toro. That's where the money is. Good afternoon to you, Richard. How things are going, Richard? Are your
Uh,
predictions coming true?
so. It's not so, not so, someone so. It's so pretty so. But I mean,
That's a lot of so. Yeah, but
but it has been a fantastic championship so far, though. I mean, my high point of the championship is the pole vault world record.
yeah,
Um, that was
agree.
something else, and then Sydney McLaughlin, 400 meters championship record. That was really sizzling, and to see the youngster Tina Clayton from Jamaica getting that silver medal for her first championships. That is, another some of the exciting things that I did enjoy though. So it has been good.
For me, the men's triple jump.
Oh,
The men's triple jump, and he says, what he said. He said, "Who
Then,
is the
who is the best?
who
who is
is
the
the
best?
best?
Who
Who
is
Yes.
the
is the
best?
best?"
Who is the
And I know
Yes.
he's
best?
originally from Cuba, right? Or
Yeah,
he's
it
from
is.
Yeah. But
Portugal,
even
Yeah.
going back,
right?
Michael, we know
Who
we
is the
just spoke
best?
about Michael, we just spoke with Paul Phillip and we talk about the coaching aspect
Hmm.
about it. But that's something that is really grounded in that part of the world in Cuba. The jumping.
Yeah,
They are like almost like the guru of jumpers coming out from there. And I know many people who goes there and train, even
Hmm.
go get the coaching levels out of Cuba for the jumps. So certainly, like when you talk about Grenada having that economy, building the youngsters coming up, I think that's
Yeah.
what Cuba is for jumpers. And I'm certainly it's they are phenomenal out there, and they have produced some great athletes. What we talk about the going back to the money and the stuff for those athletes. And that's what you see as sometimes a lot of these athletes start thinking about that. It's that saying,
Hmm.
if I go to another federation or to another country, the amount of money that I may get paid there, it will put me in a better position to do those pay those people, pay the physio and pay those things. So we also
Hmm.
got to look at that too. Some
Yeah.
athletes are leaving their federation, leaving their country, going to other countries which paying them some money where they could pay their coaches and get those treatments because it's a big
You know,
cost.
as you said that though, Rudy, and you mentioned Cuba, no, fantastic. They are doing in the jumping, Cuba is pretty much is one of the best country in the technical event all around because when you talk about the javelin, they're there too. When you talk about the shot put, they're there too. The parallel and the vertical jumping, they have always been there
even the
since
hammer.
Javier Satamaya record stood for so many years. So when you think about technical event, but one of the things that I wanted to say about Cuba is that Cuba get a lot of their expertise back in the day from countries like Germany, because Germany is very good
Yeah,
technically in terms of sporting discipline. When it checks in football right now, I mean, Liverpool was brought back from the dead, with a German guy, right? So you can understand how they are in terms of technical application to sports. They're very good in that. And, but just to come back to the money though, is what I wanted to say is that Cuba having very little money and very poor economy,
mhm,
and they are able to technically prepare their people in this kind of a way must be a phenomenal thing. You
Yeah,
know, it is really something, and I just really thought about it when you mentioned the money, Rudy. Is that they have been doing so fantastic well, but yet still they're under embargo, from the rest of the world, but they're doing very well,
yeah,
with very little that they have technically, and that must be something that must be. I mean, there should have been a study in regards to how they can achieve these things, with very little money that they have. How do they do it?
yeah.
yeah. Um, Richard, before we go in deeper, let's start from the end. The relays.
Mhm.
I say the end. the relays. So dramatic today.
Ah,
Lots of drama. That's why I said dramatic,
Too much.
right? With both, well, especially the men's, I should say.
Hmm.
But yeah, you disappointed with the Jamaicans?
Super disappointed that the Jamaicans not qualifying. They have one of the best team
The best,
ever
yeah,
right now assembled. Right, I know the Usain Bolt and the Asaf and the Nesta Carter and the Michael Frater was world record team,
yeah.
right?
And by the way,
Um,
Michael Frater is the coach for the relay, right?
is the
Yeah,
coach for the relays for the men's,
the men's relay.
right? For the men's relay team. He was complaining. He was complaining though in previous interview in regards to what he had to work with and that he doesn't. You can say that he wasn't satisfied with the preparation that was being done or yeah, and the result is what it is today, right? Because when you look at the exchange that they failed on doing, it is that they failed to exchange the baton within the boundaries, right? That's what's happened. That's what had happened because they don't have proper preparedness. Yeah, it's just so ironic that the girls' team, the general that was interviewed in regards to the girls' team, and they talk about and she mentioned the whole thing about preparedness that they were well prepared on the female side, and that is the result that they got, second fastest time going into the finals tomorrow. But the men seem to be having problem, and Jamaica have been having this perennial problem over the years in preparing relay teams, though, because there's many different things to it, though. It's not that they could not come to a camp and have training sessions all the time. But this is some of the nuances that they have, and the big one is that how do you assemble these guys all the time to prepare? Because Jamaica, how they are right now, many different clubs, many different places, many different clubs doing different things with their athletes at different times and preparing them at different level. How
Yeah,
do you get them to come to one place all the time so that they can have these regular practices? Is the problem that they're having.
Richard, and I'm glad you made that point because the question I wanted to ask you, why it is when it comes to the relays, Jamaica always have this problem. We don't have that problem with United States and by the way, the athletes in the US, they come from different
Hmm.
clubs or different camps, right?
Hmm.
But when it comes to the relay, it seems as if they unify. When it comes to
Yeah,
Jamaica, it seems as if one club tugging and one club pushing and one club
yeah.
saying this and saying that and all these sort of things, and it really affects the unity in
Yeah,
terms of the team when it comes to the
I
relay,
mean,
especially with Jamaica.
and that has always been for years, and they have never seen. So I really feel like the J3 is whatever it is the problem it is, because I mean, Stephen Francis would be annoyed by it many times, right? Glenn Mills would be annoyed by it many times, but it is for the association to be able to do what they need to do in
Mhm.
a timely manner, because, like Stephen Francis would say, I need my athletes to be here at this time. Glenn Mills would say, I need my athletes to be here at this time. So, it's for the association to balance all those conversations
Yeah.
and plan different camp dates. Not wait until a championship is when you're going to plan. That is what annoys them the most, right? Because they're planning time when the athletes have serious preparedness time. You need to do stuff before. And the thing about it is that Jamaica don't see um, enough of their athletes as a part of a group. They see their athletes in different segments. So let's look at even the team that they carry all the time. It is the sixth fastest or seventh fastest persons from the trials that they carry. But other teams like the US they have been measuring their athletes from the start of the season. So they have many different athletes in these camps all the time. Whether or not you're going to make the team or you're not going to make the team, they have you there preparing, practicing, right? So whoever make the final cut at the end of the day, you are still prepared. But Jamaica failed to do that, and that's what these coaches are calling for. Don't wait until championship time is when you're going to call a camp. Let's put these athletes in a camp before, right? They're running good throughout the season. Start doing it from the beginning of the season, but they're waiting until they make the final cut when the trials is done. That is when. But by that time, every athlete start to be specific in terms of their training program now, because this is coming down to your individual performances at the championships. They don't have much time to be dealing with the relays practices at that time, because they're looking for themselves first. Because track and field, as Otto Bolden said in an interview that I'd watched, track and field is an individual sport, right? The relays is just a offshoot of you know your individual performances. That's what
Yeah.
it is. But every single athlete is going to be looking out for themselves first, and then the relay. So you understand the nuances that they're working with, right? The thing is that the US is able to get their people together several months throughout the track and field season, whether or not you're going to make the team, yes or no. They have these athletes and they're getting them prepared and they practice it, right? And many
Because
countries do it like that.
look, for example, Coleman, who ran,
Hmm.
he did not make the US team
No.
in terms of the 100 or the 200, right?
Hmm.
But he made the team for the relay. So he was
Of course.
basically preparing for the relays, right?
Relays.
And he
Yeah.
was in the camp and they were going through the
Hmm.
the drills all along. Lincoln Deputy said winning is an attitude and a culture, something that Cuba and Jamaica have. You can have the money and the technical support, but you have to develop the mindset and the greed for
Yeah.
winning. And that must be institutionalized and become part of the culture,
So
right?
true.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you have
But let me
that.
go back. Even let me go back to the relays now. Saying this, um, Canada, you'll find them in a lot of meets in the US. LSU meet,
Hmm.
this meet, that meet, running a relay team. The
Oh,
US too.
running as a
Yeah,
Canadian
they're
relay
just
team.
running.
Yeah.
Running as a Canada relay team. Some of these guys, if they're available, they're coming in because some of these relays can be part of your training.
Yeah.
These meets you go to could be part of your training, right? So that's one of the things that I noticed with Jamaica, that they don't, a lot of these countries you have seen now who made the finals, excluding the Botswanas right now. Some of them is not in even running the 400 meters. Some of them is not in the
Exactly.
100 meters. Japan don't have nobody in the 100 meters, neither the 200, neither the 400, but they're there. And these are the things we talk about all the time, because why? We just talk about the money, Michael. We just mentioned about the money. It's $80,000 US for first
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
It's eighty
So even
thousand
if
dollars
so
US.
so
So
Rudy, even if you have 8 persons coming for that relay pool, even if you have eight
you
persons,
still get
everybody
you
can
still
walk
walk
away
away with
with
the
ten
ten
thousand
thousand
dollars. Yeah.
after they whatever they do, the tax or whatever they mention, right? You still walking
Still
away
good
with a little
money.
bit of money. So
Hmm.
in one sense, they come some. I mean, I know I understand Paul Phillip was talking about the money in sport, but I think not only for the field events, I think the money is to affect everybody in track and field, because every somebody get injured, people get hurt, people need to go places and do these things. So
Hmm.
the money in track and field, not only individual
Hmm.
events, but in track and field on a whole, right? So
Well,
it's the exact same concept.
well, I
Listen,
want to.
a
I
thrower
want to.
can go to a grass, a thrower can go to a
Yeah.
field and throw. You
Yeah.
understand? But a track athlete need a track. A hurdler need to go on a track with hurdles. A javelin guy can just go to a field, find an
Yeah.
open field and do his thing. But when it comes to the track, they need that. So that means you have to know,
Yeah.
get a permit, pay for that. So there's a lot that have to do with it, right? So
Want to
it's just
zero
one of
in.
the things that they want to see.
I want to zero in on the Jamaican team this morning, and some of the problems that they might have had, right? Is one of the problems that they might have had, because yes, you can do the practice too, and you can be practicing several times over. Because what practice does though is that practice show up your faults before and you can adjust. So one of the things that I suspect that happened this morning is that Kishan is a super fast starter. Now, Kishan personal best is 975 this year. So at the moment, Kishan is in superb running
Shape.
condition, very
Yeah.
sharp. Now, Raheem Ford, who was the athlete who was handing over to him, is running 10:01, 10:02, a little bit slower. No, no, I said that to say this. is that when you think of an athlete that is going to hand in over to the likes of a Usain Bolt who is run 9:58, and if that athlete is running 10:0, right? You, this is the thing that I have always noticed with a Usain Bolt. He's aware of the competition that is around him, but he's also aware of the speed of the person that is coming to hand the baton to him. Now, the first thing that you want to be thinking about, and that I see that him think about, is that he needs to get the baton. First thing. So even though you're aware of the competition that is around you, getting the baton is the first thing. So he's not running off in any kind of a way with any kind of a speed, right? Because the competition around him seems to be, you know, getting their baton first. He's more concerned about getting the baton in his hand. Then, he starts the chase. Now, that is one of the things that I see happening because I think Kishane very fast, especially in the starting, but Ford is a little bit slow. So what you understand is that Kishane reached the end of the exchange box already, and he still hadn't have the pattern in hand yet. So the guy was really coming in as Kishane was getting out fast, and the guy was pretty much cannot keep up to where he is. But so Kishane should have just recognized that, hey, listen, remember now, this is a slower guy than I am. Let me just wait.
Wait.
Don't worry about the
Yeah.
competition that is beside me. Just wait a little bit.
Get the
Because
baton.
he has enough time to catch these guys. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that was in line with him, all of the countries that was lined up with him, he's the number one man in the world. Yeah,
And
he's
then
the number
thinking
one
about
man in the world.
and then thinking about just qualifying, right?
And qualify.
Yeah,
He can make the adjustment.
yeah. Not just so much about winning. That's not the final. This is
Yeah,
about
but I said that to say this, Michael, that even as an athlete, you must recognize what is happening and can adjust yourself to. That is
yeah.
the hallmark of a great athlete. So if you can
Certainly.
recognize what's
Certainly.
happening and adjust, right? Because that's because you're seeing Asafa, Nesta, and and um and the coach, what's his name again? Freighter.
Fraser.
They were having the same problems back then in terms of getting practice. But what
Yeah.
they were very good at is recognizing each other's strengths and weaknesses and can
Um,
adjust. Because you could have put any one of those four guys anywhere and the
well,
pattern exchange would have been the same because they never had those problems in the past.
right.
Ever.
Torres saying here, Bolt is one of those exceptional athletes like Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. What separates
Hmm.
them from the rest is not just the skills and talent, but a high sporting IQ, right? And I
Yeah,
think
Certainly.
that is what we're
So
talking
true.
about to be,
yeah,
yeah, the
Yeah.
way to do the adjustments. Guys, while
yeah.
you're on that and Toro is there spouting and you, both of you, somewhere in Toronto, wherever it is, Toro is saying, hey,
Mhm.
it's been biased. Don't give Canada their due. Canada is not making noise in women's rugby, right? A 34-19 victory over New Zealand in Bristol, England on Friday rocked the world number two Canada into just its second ever women's rugby World
Rugby.
Cup. And by the way,
Yeah,
yeah, the Canadians picked up, was it field events, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
The
yeah,
two amateur,
gold
yeah.
medals, right?
the two
Right.
medals in the amateur, and then the 35K walk,
The
the first
25K
medal of the
walk.
games,
Yeah.
First
the
medal
first
of the
Hmm.
medal of
game.
the games. They got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Richard, overall, in terms of the performance of Jamaica and the Caribbean, and
Hmm.
I say Jamaica first because obviously they have more athletes than anyone else in the Caribbean.
Hmm.
What would you rate the performance so far of Jamaica, minus the other events that come in terms of the relays, etc., etc. But so far, because the sprints in particular, the 200, that the Jamaicans are heavily involved in. how would you rate the performance for Jamaica at this year's World Championships?
There's a performance this morning that is exceptional,
Was the
and it's
800?
the men's 800 meters
Yeah,
by
this was
Navaski
understood.
Anderson,
Yeah,
running 147, 143,
142. Oh, you
142.
mean
Yeah.
in the final?
So
Yeah,
in this particular meet, this guy would have lowered his personal best and run the
Two
national
times,
record twice,
twice,
right.
yeah.
right? Running 142 is never easy feat
Well,
from
not
at
just
no level at all. I mean,
well,
And
142 could have gotten the gold medal and the world
well,
record at one stage of
well,
the
that's
800
what we were
meters
saying.
in the
Could
past,
you
yeah, we were
imagine
saying
in
that.
the past.
you're running 142 and you cannot win a medal?
It is
And
crazy to think
probably
about.
3-4 years ago, that would be a world
Yeah.
record, right?
Yes.
Right. So
Easily.
I thought among in today's highlights that performance, well, the 800 and then the performance of
Yeah.
Anderson, I thought I singled that out because it's not an event that we tend to have a lot of interest in the Caribbean, particularly, except probably for Goal, the female,
hmm
right, Natalia Goal, right, in the 800. She
But
has been,
even Gould, Michael, even Gould had not gotten to that level. I mean, her personal best is 155. I mean, she could have gotten a medal then. But even that is not even as shocking as Navaski Anderson this morning because
yes,
Hmm.
lowering, I mean, him coming into this championship, let me tell you what happened. So, the story for him coming into this championship is that he had the national record. At the trials, the guy who was knocked out at the semifinals rounds, because there's two of them, he was knocked out. He was the one who broke his national record at the national trials. Now, coming into the championship, right? He had the mindset that he wanted to get back his national record. So he did. And then coming into the finals, he wanted to lower that standard even more because he was always talking that. I mean, when I went on his YouTube page and the conversation that he was having, he was always saying he's going to deliver something exceptional at this championship. And just for him to say that and deliver on that, it just shows because even in his remarks when he was interviewed after the event, he was saying that, hey, listen, I know I can beat these guys, and I'm going to beat these guys. And you bet
yeah,
your bottom dollar, maybe
yeah.
next championship, we are
I
going
like
to be
his.
somewhere on the podium.
I listen to him in some of the interviews, and I like his level of confidence. Right,
Yeah.
he speaks with a lot of confidence, and and somehow, while I didn't expect him to win because I mean those guys were really talented.
Those guys were flying, but
Yeah,
everybody was a group. He was fourth. He was
that's the
fourth
other
in
thing.
in the thing coming into the 100 meters. So he was there. He was very, very, very much there, doing well. So I mean, it is one
Another,
of the big things for me.
another event that I enjoyed today was I think the women's 5,000. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah.
a bunch of women
Yeah.
sprinting. Could you imagine that? You know, gone are the days where with a 5,000 meters, even a 1,500, for
Never seen
example,
that.
you have
Never seen that.
Hmm.
one or two in the front and then a streak
Hmm.
of athletes in the back. These
Hmm.
days is a group of athletes that are coming into the
A
sprint.
group of
The
athletes,
last
yeah.
the last
Yeah.
30, 40 meters, the entire group actually sprinting.
Yeah.
Everyone running as a
5,000
bunch.
meters.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
And
and
that was
certainly,
one that took place
oh,
today where
yeah.
Yeah.
it was wide open. Anyone could have probably the last, but probably 10, 20 meters, you probably could have seen who most likely would have gotten that.
What's her name?
Right?
Faith
Yeah.
Kipyegon.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Faith was the one. Like I told you, she is
Faith
my athlete,
Kipyegon.
and
She is a
she's
crazy. She
Yeah.
yeah,
is crazy performer. I mean,
yeah.
she get records after records, and it's very difficult to beat her from she came onto the scene. She is hard to beat. But the pack behind her is always going to be very competitive. But I tell
Yeah.
you this though, Michael, as we on to the 5,000 meters, one of the performance at this Olympics is the marathon men's.
Championship.
Is the men's
World champ.
marathon.
World champs,
Yeah.
not Olympics.
At the World Championships, yes, is the men's marathon. The final 10 meters of the marathon. The German guy, I don't remember what country the other guy was from, but the German guy was leading up to 10 meters before the finish and think it was all done by the shout.
Yeah.
But the guy in second place sprint the guy down. I mean, there were I never see a marathon that it came down to the
To the
wire.
wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something to see because these guys they were dead tired already. So
Yeah.
asking them to do something exciting 10 meters from the tape, it is the guy was saying, hey, I can't believe it. This guy come and pass me right here and almost have the gold medal in my hand. I lose it 10 meters from the tape.
Another highlight
That
of
was
the championships was the women's 400 meters.
oh,
Um, do you think that she may attempt or they may arrange so she can attempt the double, the 400 meters hurdles, and the 400-meter flat probably in another championships or even the Olympics?
it's a crazy thing to think about to do both of those events in any championships at all. It doesn't
But
matter
that's what
how
I'm
they want
saying.
to arrange it.
Well,
It
I
is
was
crazy to
thinking,
ask any human being to do that. I'm going to
but
say
do
that.
you think
It will
she's in
be
a position?
crazy to ask any human being.
Or is she
Tell
in
you
a
why,
position to
Michael.
do that?
Tell you why.
But listen, she said
Is
something in an
hmm
interview.
hmm
Um, and she said, it's to be the best in everything. So
um,
don't be surprised you see her running the 400, the 200 meters, as well as the 100 meters. She mentioned that at the game, at an interview, that don't be surprised you see her in the 200 meters, even
yeah.
in the 100-meter hurdles, that she just wants to be the greatest in those, in everything that she take part in. Remember, listen, she's a 630 or 640 long jumper in
Yeah.
high school or something like that.
hmm
So she's very talented, like very,
He's
very
super
talented,
talented. He's
super,
super
super
talented.
talented. So,
But
so
I
she
tell you
might, yeah,
the difference between our high school years and our professional years is age. High school athletes can do phenomenal things. Think about it.
yeah, yeah,
Phenomenal things. They can do phenomenal things. There's this kid that is in high school in the US, Wilson, around the 400
yeah,
meters.
yeah,
He is doing times that could have gotten him medal at the Olympics or
at
the
the World
World
Championship.
Championship, right?
Yeah,
But see, as he's getting older, he's getting injured because he's way past his muscle years, right? So it's all about development, and you can't push too much,
mhm,
right? So my thing is that yes, she can be a super athlete and look like it, but she's not as young and as agile as you think she is because she's what 20, she's what 27 years old or something like that. How old
late
is she?
20s, yeah, I think it's late.
So but what I'm saying is for ask her to be doubling up on these events like that or to stepping down. Stepping down is going to be a little bit easier, Rudy, to come to the 100 and the 200. It is possible. To
yeah.
do the
You
400
can
hurdles
you
and the
can talk
double
about what
400 meters is impossible.
six races in the 400, and then
hmm
possible doing the 4x4 as the last event.
That
And not
is
only he's one of the fan that's 7 400 meters in a week if it's the world
that's
championship.
that's
Uh, yeah, even if it's the Olympics, I think the time
that's
is
too
about a week as
much.
well. I also think it's
Hey,
about a week as well. So it's a lot.
hey,
It's a lot. Yeah.
the heptathlon athletes and the decathlon athletes are already challenged.
All right. Let's move
Yeah.
on now to your boy Lives, Noah Lives. Do you think
Mm,
he's satisfied now? He was a bit worried
lies.
about the 200 meters.
I think he's not satisfied because he got beaten in the 100 meters. Because if you look at his demeanor, he's pretty. Yes, he got the four, he got the 200-meter gold medal. He fought for it, but I really think that he came to the championship thinking that he wants to be the all-round sprinter,
Yeah,
of all time. That is his aim. He wants to.
the athlete of the meet of the
He
championship.
no, he wants to be the athlete of all time because Usain Bolt certainly hold that crown right now. So his thing is to chip away at that and to get that, you know.
But I guess that Melissa may be the one who may come out with that because she already has the double, the one, the two, and probably the relay, the 4x1 relay. She may have a third
Yeah,
gold. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and Melissa, unlike Lyles, you know, one of the big thing that he doesn't have at all, you know, so he could be winning 5 events, 6 events, 10 events. But one other thing that he doesn't have is that he doesn't have world records. You know, the thing Usain Bolt has is that every
Zero
single
records.
one of his world records was run at a championships. Whether it is the Olympics or the World Championship, that's where he run all of his world records, right?
When he went for the rounds.
Yeah. So Lyles doesn't even have it, even if he went to a Diamond League, and he's nowhere near to any one of those right now. And I don't think he's going to get any one of those records. I'm not sure he's going to be running 1931 again. Well, 9.5 is certainly out of his cards for sure, you know, because I'm not seeing him getting any better from here on into the sprints. Because I tell you this much, when you're at your highest point is when you start getting injuries. And when you start getting injuries, it means that your muscle is saying, this is where I am at right now. I mean, it's very few athletes even come back from injuries and do way better than they have been doing. And for him to get injured and come back and do, I mean, it is going to take a whole lot for him to get even close to 9.5. Melissa, on the other hand, though, you know, if she
Different.
continues like where she is for the next 2 years, I'm pretty certain
Yeah.
that maybe both of those records, the 200 and the 100, might be in a bit of a bother, you
She's in a
know,
league.
Yep.
where she is concerned.
She's in a league
And
of her
she
own.
has, but she has a bunch of young girls coming up. You see the
Hmm.
twins from Jamaica. Then you're gonna see Liston, Brianna Liston, and soon coming back.
Yeah.
And then you see all the young girls she have in the U.S. and across the world. Was it Bahamas? Have that 200-meter young girl in there. Um, Other countries, you see they have a lot of these young athletes that coming up. Um, that young girl in the 200 meters, nobody know where she's coming
Hmm.
from, and just come second. Everybody didn't even put her in their mind because nobody
Yeah.
expected that. So there is a lot of young
Right.
people coming up. I think it's about getting that race with everybody in it.
Hmm.
Also do help. Um, I think Melissa definitely needs some push to get that record. I
Hmm.
don't think you'll just happen just going to a meet where there is really nobody
No.
around. I think she really needs to get
No.
some push.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the record could be gone by her. The same thing with I said about the 400 meter. The 400 meters can go if all three ladies is in the same race and they have a
Yeah.
different lane. That Polino being in lane 9 or being out there in lane 9. If they have lanes like 4, 5, and 6, I think that world record is going to go. All four of these girls is going to run a 49 point. And if you're not careful, Sydney going to run a 46 point. If you're not careful, So suddenly
Really,
we
it's
have
not
seen
46.
because I mean
Hey,
she is
Michael,
listen.
Rudy's a 400 man, you know, and if he's saying that,
Listen,
I
but
know,
I'm
but
saying
serious.
this,
a 46.
but we are watching on television. We are not
Yeah.
watching live. We watch it from
Hmm.
television, and she looked
Hmm.
like she's not even running fast.
Yeah, well,
She
that's
was still walking around. The rest of them is on the ground. She was
Yeah.
up still.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's
she's
like,
very, very
is she
fast.
really running fast? That's what I'm saying. If they
Yeah.
get a lane all close to each other, would
Yeah.
it be a different type of race? That is just my thing. I know you asked about the how the Caribbean did in terms of the how they did. I will give the Caribbean itself a B plus. Like I
Hmm.
said, so far I think we had 2 gold
Why?
medals. We have 3 gold medals, right? Cuba,
Hmm.
Jamaica, and Trinidad, right?
Dominica.
Dominica gets silver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
silver. So
Silver.
I'll say a B plus. Um, very close to the A. The A will come based on how the results go in the women's 4x1
Hmm.
and 4x4.
Um, right, that's the Caribbean. One of the countries I'm very impressed with is Botswana.
Oh.
Um, and to be honest, I think they are favored to. They're going in as probably favored to win that 4x4, men's 4x4.
Mhm.
Somehow,
I don't know.
Botswana has a cadre of quarter milers, right? And
Yeah.
it's like they came with a relay team for itself, and they have their
Mhm.
400 meters, runners. But from my understanding, they do have a lot of quarter milers.
Yeah.
It is one of those countries where it's very 400 meters is very, very competitive,
Well,
and I'm very
well,
impressed with Botswana
just to put it in perspective, they have three
in the
persons
final.
from the finals,
Yeah,
right?
three
And
of them.
now the other person who's on that team is Tobago
Yeah,
that runs the 200 meters,
yeah.
right? So just understand where they are in terms of. There's only one US guy made the 400 finals, right? Everybody else from the US was beaten in that 400 meters. So only one American that made the finals. So just imagine where Botswana is. They're going to be a superb 4x4. And these are young guys too. These are
And
not
young,
older
that's the
guys.
other
These
thing.
are
Young
young guys
guys.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future. And
In the,
it's not they're just not the only four. As a matter of fact, they showed up in a lot of events this year. You
Yep.
know, so
yes,
it looked like they have a real great track and field program going on down there at Botswana. Something is happening.
yeah.
No, certainly, and I agree with that. But I knew the Botswana was coming up in the future. This is another surprise to me. Um,
Mhm.
so certainly that I still don't think they will win the 4x4. I think I think South
You think the
Africa.
Americans
No, I think South
South
Africa is going
Africa?
to win the 4x4. I
But
think South Africa will win the 4x4.
I
Mm.
said it. The medal will go to Southern Africa, meaning South Africa or
Oh,
Botswana.
Well,
Botswana. Yes,
Southern
I'm
yes.
going to
Africa.
tell you this, Michael. I'm going to
South
tell you
Africa is
this.
looking good
That
too.
Botswana team is going to take that four by
They're
four,
looking.
hands
Yeah.
down.
And but
That won that 400 meters is a super young guy. Very
yeah,
special.
it's 21. Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're talking about yesterday. Based on the timing, like today, then
Hmm.
they got to run tomorrow. Um, and the
That's
US is running. The US is running again, but the US
Hmm.
not going to put that team on in the finals. So we have to also never say no to the United States. Never say no to them. Is not always we always talk about. Yeah, it's a relay. It's a different
Yeah.
type of relay than the 4x1. You have
Hmm.
time to make up, but
Hmm.
never count them out. And I'm not saying that they
Yeah.
not saying they
Botswana and South
anything, but I'm
Africa.
just saying
Botswana and
I
South
think I just
Africa
say
are
never count them out. They'll be there. The
two
US will
most
be in there.
experienced, the two most experienced teams in that final.
Yeah.
Well,
Botswana and thing. However, I'm always impressed with the Netherlands. Mind you, they have been
Yeah.
showing up.
They're a little bit there. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they could give some
They're
especially
trouble.
always gonna
yeah,
have something to
Netherlands is
say.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could give some trouble.
hmm
They have to watch them, right? The Netherlands have been
Hmm.
doing
yeah.
well.
Especially
Yeah,
on the women's side.
and I know they come from the and then you have I see Belgium is now showing up.
Hmm.
You have you have the Dutch, you have Belgium,
Hmm.
but in the 4x1, I don't want to sound a bit biased, but I think your folks, the Canadians, they have the edge. They are on paper, and in terms of experience as well.
Hmm.
Canada was, fluent in the battle passing, no problem. If they can repeat that in tomorrow's final, I can see them winning that hands down. Yeah,
Them have a
very fluent.
chance.
Yeah, very fluent. I don't know what
Yeah.
I
they'll
think
do
I think
in terms of the placement, but if they can repeat in terms of that batter passing, was
Yeah.
they
fluent.
They're gonna
not
have
only
something.
repeat. I think they could bring the national record too. I think they're gonna also go for it. Those
Mm.
And
boys
they're
are
the
talking
defending
about
champions,
this
eh?
is the
They're the
last
defending.
time. Yeah, and they are talking about this is the last time they probably might be together.
Okay,
This has been talked about a lot, and them themselves say this could be the last time they are together. So
and
certainly, I know they're going to give it everything they can, and I certainly expect to
Yeah.
see them. I expect to see them um,
you
certainly
know,
doing something ridiculous.
Botswana
Yeah,
will set a
I
new
don't
world
know.
record in the
Listen,
final 4x4.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Brilliant.
I think in the future, yes.
You and
In
Edwin
the
again,
listen,
right?
listen, in the future, I do. Listen, the world record was set with guys with Michael Johnson and those guys. That's not an easy record to break. You know what I mean? I think the future for those guys, it can happen if the teams get together and they're all healthy. But I'm not seeing this happening in this
What,
world championship.
what about this, Richard? He's saying that too much is will depend on Ray Benjamin for the USA in that 4x4 because I'm probably they most likely will pull him into the 4x4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure that will bring him in because yeah, yeah, for sure. I
but
mean,
I think
the
that
question is
most
that but
I still am not confident about the US 4x4 team based on how they look today. Even though they're
not a
impeding
team.
and all kind of thing, I
Yeah,
still, you know,
but it's
when I
not a
look at the
team.
race, I still was, yeah, I
But
still was,
it's not a team. It's not
yeah,
the team. They have
and
other people
then,
they'll put on. So it's not a team.
yeah,
They'll put on at least they'll put in two more guys on this team.
yeah. But tell you the thing,
They'll add
Rudy,
or three more. They'll add another three more, including
but
yeah, they'll add three more guys on the team.
they have a whole range of people.
Not in the heats. Yeah.
But tell you this, Rudy, I use the 400, the flat 400 meters to judge how ready they are, right? At the moment, in the flat 400, they're not ready. So I'm saying Botswana, who is a good relay team, lots of people that they have too, right? And they showed up in this championship in the flat 400. It says a lot about what to expect for the 4x4, right? I mean, even in Jamaica, the high school championships, when you look within the 400 meters, once you see that school show up for that flat 400 meters, it always tell you exactly what is possible for the 4x4,
4x4. Yeah.
right? So I think the guys for the USA, they're really not showing up in terms of the 400 for this championship. So I can't see them getting beyond their performance that they have been doing right now. I can't see them running any faster than what they have delivered at the championship. So, and Botswana is
And I
on fire.
yes, Michael. Yes, Richard and Michael. I get that. And Sam, I get what you guys are saying. But they've been running. Those guys been
History is
running
not going to help
races.
them.
They guys been running races. Those
Yeah,
American they've been sitting down.
yeah.
They've been resting. And so
No, but
certainly
Rudy,
I
is
think
only
that will
one
come a
race.
placement
Is
for them.
only one race. Is only one race they have different between them, and is that the guys from from thing that has only run one race extra, and is the
Yeah.
finals that they were in. It doesn't say anything about them overworking at all.
Hmm.
And
And
they had
I
enough
listen
time. They had enough time from the flat 400
for the
meters
flat. Yeah.
days
Listen,
ago to
I, I,
recuperate.
I,
So they're okay.
I love what I see, but so far right now, the US have to qualify first and make it in because they're not in right now. They are not in, so they have to first step by step first. They
Exactly.
have to because the same four guys
Yeah.
have to run now. The same four of them. I will say let them
Exactly.
qualify first. Let them qualify first. Then they're gonna
Hmm.
select who they're gonna put on, and it is gonna be a good race. It's certainly not going to be the last race. It should have been the last race. I know they're doing the women, putting the women last, but this should have certainly be the last race because it will be a very
But
exciting race.
but
Yeah.
Rudy, to go back to your thing and say who's working more, these US guys are going to be working much more because they have a race to run tomorrow this evening, right? So they have a race to run
But
just
they wouldn't
before
run
their
those guys.
finals.
Yeah, but they wouldn't run them.
But
They wouldn't run the
no,
same four guys.
I'm sure two of those guys are going to be on that team.
No, I think the US going to add. I think the US might add one guy and put in another three. Listen, the US is they do a kind of different kind of skills, the different thing. But who
Let's
knows?
see.
They probably have something in the bag
Let's
that we don't
see.
know about. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Botswana for me.
They probably flew up Quincy and we don't know. They
Yeah,
probably
well,
they probably flew up Quincy and we don't
Quincy
know.
Quincy's not
I
there.
know, I know, I
Quincy's
know, I
not there. Yeah. But
know.
Botswana for me.
I'm going at Botswana.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
South Africa. I'm South Africa.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
I'm
South
South
Africa.
Africa. Yeah, I'm South Africa. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I'm
it's
South Africa. Yeah,
a team to beat.
Yeah.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
see
man.
I think South Africa.
And the
Honestly, I think South
US
Africa. Yeah,
and for the women, I think the USA, yeah, they probably had that lockdown. I think
Yeah.
the USA women,
Yeah.
they can easily
oh
beat.
yeah, they believe and like I said, Jamaica have to run really well and probably a national record or close, because they're gonna have to go against the Netherlands, and that is a
Yeah.
tough one. Um, but I think they'll put it together. They run very well. They run very smart. And they have Price, and she's phenomenal. She's a
Yeah. But
phenomenal
yeah,
athlete.
man.
And
It
they
is going
want to
to
live
be.
with something. They want to live with something, and they're going to really work for it.
It's going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be a good race. US,
Yeah.
Jamaica. Because look, Jamaica have their personal best to be 3:18.71. US have 3:15.27. Right? And where the
But that's not with
Netherlands
that
is.
team. But that's not with that team.
I
That's the
understand, but this
yeah,
is
the
even a
country
better
itself.
team. But
You
this
think
is
so?
even a better team. Yeah, this is even a
Nah, that's
better
not a better
team.
team. I don't know
Well,
if that's a better team. And not putting Sonia Richards in there together with
no,
Alison
no, I'm
Phillips.
not talking
I
about.
don't.
I'm not talking about the US. I'm talking about the Jamaica team.
Oh, the Jamaica team. I think that
Yeah,
certainly. I think that's the
yeah,
best team ever. I think
yeah.
that's the best team ever. Ever put
But
down
if you
on
look at
paper. I
but
think.
if you
Yeah.
look at this if you look at this team Rudy, the US team, McLaughlin is far better than Sonia Richards in this thing.
Yes.
Way
That
faster
facts.
than
Yeah.
Sonia Richards in
Facts.
this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
She demolished Sonia Richards' record like as if it wasn't even there.
Yes. But is the
She
rest of the
demolished that.
girls? But is the
And
rest
then
of the girls could
you
match up
know,
to
so
Alison Felix as well as Sonia Richard? The rest of them.
she this McLaughlin girl is way out there more than even what Alice Felix could have done.
Yeah.
Alice
Yeah.
Felix
Certainly.
did
Certainly.
nice work, but this
Hmm.
girl is going. And hey, listen, when you have a baton in hand, the relay is a whole different beast from running a flat race. Yeah. The relay is a
Uh,
proof people who you
yeah.
think could never even run a certain time, they
I tell
start
you,
Good
running
right.
these times in a relay.
in fact,
It's
the
a
relay
different thing.
they show up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
especially if they have to run somebody down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And what about the four by
I
one
tell
now,
you,
women? Just before we go, I know you're wrapping up soon, Michael. What
yeah.
about the four by one women?
Yeah.
Well, I think the 4x1 women, the USA on paper, the USA probably has the best team, right? On paper, I'm saying that,
Hmm.
and based on the qualification, I think because when you bring
Hmm.
in well, Titi, I think Titi Terry she ran, right? And then you have
Hmm.
Melissa, and who are the other? I don't know who they probably will bring in, but at least those two will
Hmm.
be there. And I think on paper they probably have a good team. Now, I'm not counting out Jamaica with the twins, and I don't know who else they will probably add with them there. But
They're
We
going,
know
they
who they're
they're
going to
going to
add
certainly,
already.
they're going to certainly
Exactly.
add Sharika and
Sherika
Shelly.
and Shelly. No question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly will be a matchup between Jamaica and the USA. But what will
yeah.
determine is probably that third leg, the batter passing, and that third leg in
Hmm.
particular. Who hands off to who,
Yeah.
and who is the person that bringing that batter home. That will probably
Like,
will determine that.
like I was saying to Rudy earlier, so one of the twins have to run a straight away because they are not 200-meter runners. So I don't see the twins running on any one of the curves at all. Not the start and not
So
the third
somebody,
leg.
so
So the
one of them had to
twins,
bring it
the
home.
twins are either, yeah, one of them going to have to be running one of the straightaways, right? So it's going to be between Sharika and Shelly to be running either one of the curves. I would want to think that Shelly might be starting, but as I tell Rudy, that the Jamaica team might get sentimental and want Shelly to finish the race.
Yeah.
It all depends on how they look at it.
Now, if you look at
Melissa is going to anchor the US team, and she's possible. It is possible that she can run Shelly down. I mean, Shelly with a batting and might be difficult to run down. So it is. It is. I'd really want to see how they structure the Jamaica team, but they have a real good shot at at this thing, you know, a really, really great shot at this thing, and it is going to
Again,
be
But
something.
we know we talk
again,
about paper.
the batter passing will be critical there.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
can
The
get
US is the
going,
US is famous for dropping it though, you know, Michael,
well,
among the women, you know.
when it matters, eh? Like in the final, yeah, when it matters, yeah.
But we talk
Among the
about,
women.
you
Yeah.
know, we talk about timing.
Yeah.
And if this is Jamaica team, they are the
Hmm.
fastest team that will be on the track
Yep.
for the year in terms of
Hmm.
individually. They will be the fastest team
Yeah.
individually for the year. That will be
Because
on
the
the
two
track.
twins are
But
faster
we
than,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know who the US is really gonna who are the full team as yet as well.
Yeah.
Um, but
And who knows?
certainly in terms of times, they will be the fastest team on the track.
You mean
Hmm.
Jamaica?
Jamaica,
Jamaica.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
individually, yeah,
Yeah, individually, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
individually, yeah.
Because
So
all of the athletes would have showed up and would have.
would have been showed up, yeah. And I've been
So far
seeing
the
it
only
from the
person
one
for the USA is probably Melissa, right?
minister, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
my
And she anchored today. She anchored
she
for
anchored
Yeah.
today. She
But
might anchor
she's,
again. She might anchor again, and they might put Jefferson third and second.
yeah. I really think that Melissa is going to anchor that team because the
Think she's
US
gonna
is not
anchor?
going to trust anything. Yeah.
Not gonna
They're not
trust.
going to trust
Not gonna
anything
trust
because
anybody. Yeah,
putting Shakiri on that final leg, she can be run down by anybody.
anyone,
The
anyone.
twins,
Yeah, any one
Shelly,
of them.
because I
And she
mean,
would
based on how she's
probably
running,
yeah.
yeah,
She could be run.
how
She may
she's
not even
running
be on the
right
team.
now,
She may not even be
yeah,
on the team. We don't even know. She may not even
we
be
don't
there.
even know. Yeah,
But
because she
my selection would be Jamaica. I will go with Jamaica to win the women
yeah.
4x1.
I'll go into Jamaica as well
I'll go with Jamaica to win
to
the
get
women
this
four by
gold
one.
medal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have the US and Jamaica.
It's only one goal enough. One goal alone,
I
Michael. One
know,
goal.
I know. And then but you said the men, you
Yeah.
said for the men,
Third,
I have Canada.
third in the women. Third in the women will be third in the
Mhm.
women will be the British.
Yeah, that's a big toss up though, because I mean,
I know.
I say, yeah, the British is what team ran down the British in the semifinals.
Yeah, I'm going to do in the finals though.
There's a team that ran down the British in the semifinals, you know.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't even come, but it's a toss up,
Mm.
you know. It's a
And
big toss up for that
and
4x1 third
well,
place.
yeah. And as we say for the men, I'm putting Canada as the favorite, the hot favorite for the men.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
again,
I think so.
there's a toss up for the second and third. To be honest,
Hmm.
there's a toss up for
But
the second.
some young teams. Who's it? Is it Kenya?
I think
Hmm.
Japan qualifying. Which
Japan
one
is there.
is in the four
Yeah,
by one?
man.
So that still got to
Yeah.
look at South Africa, even though they're running on their own to qualify. I think they have to run again to qualify. Um, yeah, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be an
be pretty
interesting last day.
interesting.
It's gonna be an
Yeah.
interesting last day.
All
Yeah.
right, guys. So thanks very much, Richard. Always a pleasure having you.
Yeah, man.
And
Not a
all the best.
problem, Michael.
All right, then. I appreciate it. Thanks
Yes,
very much.
man.
All
I
right, then.
appreciate it too. All right.
Okay, then. And Rudian, we have to say, we have to express condolences to Cleve and Toro
Yeah.
and Deputy family as a whole.
Deputy family on a whole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the passing of their brother Roger.
Yeah.
May his soul rest
Yeah.
in peace. Yeah, and Toro, as you know, and Deb and Cleve, they are being
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
supportive of our
Definitely. Certainly,
program.
my prayers will be with the family to comfort. For
So they
sure.
are
Yeah.
regular, viewers of our program, and we want to extend on behalf of all those who normally will be looking at our program, participating in the program. We want to extend
Yeah.
condolences to the Deputy family and the Roger rest in peace. So, Rudian, again, I know it's the last few hours of the championship, and Richard put it in a spin.
Yeah.
I guess as much everyone will be, their attention will turn to the relays, right? The 4x1 and 4x4 relays come tomorrow. That will be the highlight, no doubt. We also have for us the decathlon, because we have Lyndon who is still competing. We
Yeah,
really hope that
yeah.
Lyndon can turn up the, you know, turn up the
You
temperature.
have to turn it up. You don't have a choice.
He
And I
has to
think you're
turn
going to
it
see
up
a lot of turning up tomorrow from a lot of these guys and them.
because he
They're
have
all
the
going to step
javelin.
up,
Yeah. He has the
and then
javelin,
try to step up. Yeah,
which he's famous, which he's strong in. I know the
yeah.
1500 is weak area, but if he can step up
You
and
got to
get some
make it up. You
points,
got to get some good points in that. You just got to, yeah.
that would be good. But all in all, a good championship, I would say, very exciting championship. Despite if your country won and didn't win any medals, I thought as the love of sports, the love of track and field, it was a very exciting world championship, right? And I know we'll have to wait until. Well, by the way, I think um, Paul was saying that come next year, God's willing, the
Yeah, but
World
different.
Athletics,
Yeah,
the World Athletics have a special championship because it's
yeah,
basically like an off year. That one is specifically for the athletes to make money, right? And
yeah.
that is in addition to the Diamond League, etc., etc. And then we have World Champs again when in 2017, 2027, sorry.
In
And then
Beijing,
we, yeah, and then we go to the
LA.
Olympics in LA in
Yeah,
2020. So the next 2 3 years, a lot of athletes.
should be
Before
interesting.
I go,
And I don't
before we
know, and I don't know if there's any Commonwealth Games next year for the Caribbean athletes.
well,
And I know there
there's
was an issue,
Commonwealth
so I don't know if
Games.
it's
Yeah,
still
that's
on.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's been on and off with the Commonwealth Games, but I think they may have Glasgow may have been the one that may have settled on with, right? Let me see. Torres saying thanks, Rudy and Bash, for your expression of sympathy on the Pastor Roger, also known as Jazzy, shot for Brazilian footballer. Okay, Jazzy, much appreciated. Thank you, Toro. Before we go and wrap up, um, Rudy, and so earlier this week I wrote a commentary, an opinion piece as it relates to uh, Kirani, right? And I thought I probably need to explain, not so much clarify, but explain, because I think people don't, we have a tendency where people don't read. They
yeah.
probably look at the headlines and
Just
then they
watch a
take,
little. Yeah,
yeah, and then they take it from
yeah.
there.
Or somebody tell them.
Yeah, or somebody tell them and thing. And I saw a lot of comments, and some of them I responded to, some I just left it alone. Because what, in essence, we were saying, and something we discussed already, is that, hey, Kirani has achieved and accomplished everything that he can, right? Whatever Kirani is doing now is a bonus, right? As far as he's concerned, it's a bonus. He has been Carifta, Junior, um, Commonwealth, World, Olympic, just name it, champion after champion, right?
Diamond League.
However, Diamond League, there comes a time, it's inevitable, there comes a time when Kirani James will say, that's it, guys.
That's it.
It can be tomorrow, it can be next year, it can be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. But the point is, he will make that decision, and the decision will come at some point in time. Just as our Bolt, just as our Shellyan, all of them made a decision. What we are saying is that it's not too early to start planning for when that time comes. That's all we're saying. We have a tendency, and Rudy, and you know that, we have a tendency of last minute and rushing to do this and do that. It's inevitable. It will come at some point in time. So all you need to do is to put things in place and start the planning process. Because at some point in time, whether it's next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, it will come and you will already have a plan in place. Similarly, Rudian, in most countries, your head of state and other important people. There's a plan in place for in case, God forbid,
Something
eh,
go on.
something happens. There's a
Yeah.
plan. There's a protocol already in place.
In place. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's the prime minister, the governor general, whoever it is, there's a plan in
Everything.
place.
Everybody. There's a plan in place. Yeah.
There is a plan in place. What they may determine at the point in time, what are the little fine details they may need to do, if they may need to put bury in their village or or something like that. So, but there's a plan in place, and
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that the time will come when Sokirani will say, "That's it, guys,"
That's
and
it,
we
guys.
must be in a position. It must not be as the other athletes, the Rondell Bartholomew, the Aline Francique, the Hazeland Regis, and how they exited the sport. It must be something where it must be a grand affair, right? It was something that should have been planned. And I'm not saying that it's something that you're planning for tomorrow or whatever. We don't know. That is up to Sokirani to make that decision. What we are saying is that please ensure that you plan
There's something
and
in
there's
place. Yeah.
something in place. Plan
Yeah.
and have something in place so that when he determines, when he decides, you cannot say you were not prepared, right? Yeah. Um, Edwin is saying, Father Age is caught up with Kirani. The time has come, Mr. B. Again, that is for us to Kirani to make that determination. As far as I know, Kirani probably will be on the circuit. He'll be, there's the Diamond League, there's all these things.
Yeah.
He'll be on the circuit. But
And
he
and
would
and
make that.
is this a perfect time for us to say, let us get a relay and give him that chance
And that is the
to run
that
a
is the
relay
other
team?
thing I was saying. Now there is a
Yep.
transition. Like Van de
Yep.
Kirk, look where Van de Kirk is doing. He's an
Yep.
relay.
Exactly. He's in a relay.
Aquala did the same thing for
Yeah.
Botswana, and what's happening to Botswana?
Yep.
Aquala, the 400-meter runner,
Yep.
right? He did the same thing for. There was
Same
a
thing.
transition, right?
Transition over.
De Kirk, most likely this is his last, but he
Yep.
is getting into the relays now, right? There's a transition. We're talking about the world record holder, right?
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
transition, and he's ensuring that the South Africans have a chance. The young South Africans have a chance. So all of that is a conversation they need to have, right? The government, Athletics Association, Olympic Committee, they have to meet with Team Kirani, with his management, and start making that determination as to, in the future, the transition in terms of whether or not Kirani will be able to participate in the relays, etc., etc. I know you'll be on the circuit still because you have the Diamond League and all of that. He will be competing, right? But they need to start having that conversation, right? Thank you very much,
Certainly.
Rudian.
It's always a
Always a
pleasure,
pleasure.
and
Yeah.
for our
Um,
fans,
yeah.
certainly thank you guys for always being here with us, for always giving your views, the Sam
Always
and the
appreciate.
Toro and the Roger. We always appreciate that, and thank you
Yeah,
guys.
Gordon
Yeah,
and all the
and
others.
Gordon. Yeah,
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 yeah.
certainly.
Thank you
Thank you
very much,
guys.
guys.
Yeah,
We appreciate.
yeah.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Rudian.
It's always a pleasure.
Okay, then. So that's Rudian Sylvan in Toronto. And before that, we had Richard McClatty. He's also somewhere in Canada. I don't want to say Toronto, somewhere in Canada, right? Yeah. Thank you, folks. Always a pleasure having you. Let me see. Torres say major newsroom of the world have orbit prepared for leaders. They have staff assigned. That is it. You hit the ball. You hit the nail on the head, Toro. That's it. There's already something. It's prepared already. They may just need, and that's why you wonder at times when a major figure die, why it is within a few minutes they can have something out because it's already there. Whether it's the president of the United States, whether it's some major, they have the Pope, you know. So the major news agencies like the AP and the Reuters and all of that, they will have those things prepared and prepare it in such a way that when the time comes, if ever, it's just a matter of pulling it out and adding whatever it is they need to add, which can be just a little edit, right? But they have those things already prepared. Yeah. And you wonder sometimes why when those things happen within minutes, they have a long thing prepared and blah blah blah. That is what it is. Yeah. Thanks, Toro. Thank you very much. Thank you, Otley, again, John, for being with us. Always a pleasure having you. Invitation is yours to join us next week, God's willing, provided we have a program. But until then, continue enjoying all that's there, including the World Championships, the rest of the World Championships. There's cricket. I know the CPL is coming towards an end, and all that's available. Until then, do have yourself a pleasant weekend.